All right, so let's get into draft grades / draft values. What's the difference? Let's see if we can do, maybe they'll get a top 25. I guess, no, we'll go down to 32. How about we go down to 32? Blast those out real quick. So way back, I did a video on drafting with data, using data analytics to essentially forecast how you should be drafting, essentially creating a cheat sheet, a rubric for what positions should you be looking to draft. Even if you, I guess once you bang out what you need, you know, where's the value, and it also helps you project what other teams should be looking at as well. Obviously the top one there being quarterback, and then a distant second's actually cornerback, your primary cover corner. And then there's a good cluster with corner and then wide receiver 1, then your primary edge rusher, which is typically your right edge, right? And then the guy who's going up against him, which is your left tackle. That's your top 5. So it goes quarterback, a whole step down, corner, wide receiver 1, then your primary edge rusher, and then left tackle. And then there's like a Leo, and then you get another corner, and then it's your edge, and then there's a free safety, tight end, right tackle, and at the 13th position is wide receiver 2. So it's actually quite top heavy in terms of guys that no one likes to draft, which is corners, tackles, edge rushers. But quarterback is miles ahead of everybody else in terms of numbers. So I'm going to be working on that throughout today. And then moving on to, let's do some mock drafts, kind of using that top 10 to 15, I guess, in terms of position ranking / grades and value. All right, so let's go to, should be up. All right, there we go. Do some mock drafts here. Max this out real quick. All right, so let's bang out about 3 or 4 of these, going through some different scenarios. Obviously, I've been a Drake May guy since last year, halfway through last college season, not 2023, 2022. I watched him just play, and I thought the guy had enough grit. And I remember everybody just saying the guy needed to stop putting his body out there because he was going to, he's going to be a number 1 pick or something like that. So I'm with him. So if he's out of the way, I have a bad feeling, by the way, if you guys are listening, I have a bad feeling Drake May is going to be gone. I think we're going to be stuck with Jaden Daniels, which is not the end of the world. You know, like last year, would Jaden Daniels be the number 1 overall pick? Possibly. Probably likely, actually, now that I think about it, compared to what. And then the year before that, absolutely. The year before that, yep. You'd have to go back to Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence is probably one of the few guys that would easily say he's better than Jaden Daniels. So should we be complaining that we get him? No. I think he can pass the ball. I think his problem is that he tends to run when he doesn't need to. When there's any sign of problems, he knows he can just go with that. And hey, if you're faster than most running backs and you're agile and you can handle the hits, which, I think he has. I mean, people are worried about his durability, but I haven't been worried. I mean, there's not enough evidence to say he's not durable. I mean, light guys can get hit hard, but sometimes they survive hits better than other guys. It's just genetics and durability. So I'm not that worried about it. My problem is that his tendency to tuck and stop looking downfield when there was still something better. There's a better option was to hold on to the ball for an extra half a second and, give it a shot. Because he tends to run into sacks. Now, a lot of people say, well, Drake May had issues with getting sacked. The problem with Drake May's sacks, well, I just say that using that as a bad example for people, is that Drake May, if he was getting sacked, he was getting a sack. It was only a few yards behind the line of scrimmage. Both Caleb and Jaden tried to evade and prolong. They're getting sacked 5-7 yards behind the line of scrimmage. Their sacks are worth several sacks of Drake Mays. See, like Drake May knows when to take a sack. The problem is those guys did not, because they have the capability of extending the play. All right, so we're going to get into it. Wow, 16 calling. I doubt the Chargers are going to do that. I actually would be considering the Vikings. Everybody hates the trade back idea. I'm not a big fan of it right now, just because of how weak next year's quarterback class is, and then the unknowns of the following year. It's just because I'd said this before, which is a big problem about the quarterback classes for the next 2 years is next year, big drop off, substantial. There's not one guy with maybe you'd say Quinn Ewers that would be in that draft class that people have been kind of like, ooh, he might be pretty good. There's like him, and then Aller, who's okay. He's kind of, I guess he's got the prototype build. He's big dude, big strong dude, big arm. And then Ryan Leonard, I think last year kind of turned heads. But other than that, there's not too many other guys in that draft class for quarterbacks that you should be really excited for. I know some people point out the Shedeur Sanders. Shedeur Sanders might have the Jaden Daniels benefit this year, which is his dad's gone out and got, anybody possible to help them out on offense to boost his numbers. But I think the college pros are going to see right through that. But point being is that if you don't get a quarterback this year, one of the top 5 guys at least, you're gonna be missing out. And the only other person that I would really consider outside, I don't know if I'd go Bo Nix. I wouldn't mind Michael Pratt in like the 3rd, and I also wouldn't mind getting Jordan Travis in the 4th if you were going to go that route. So it's either get Daniels, May Daniels, or just try to go for Pratt or Jordan Travis. I know Jordan Travis wouldn't be able probably to play for the first half of the year, but that's fine. I mean, even the guys that we're projecting to get in the top 3, in the top 3 would probably have to sit anyway. Ooh, that's an interesting problem to have. If Kool-Aid frickin' McKinstry makes his way to the 2nd round, is that... Wow, I didn't think about that. All right, so let's take a look. My biggest concern is finding a decent left-right tackle. Can I take Jordan? Looks like people are starting to realize that Kingsley might be a 1st-round draft pick, like I said, all the way back in August of last year. Where is he? Am I right? Oh, yep, 31. Oh, so now it's reality. Oh my gosh. I hope I saved those videos. Yeah, those videos are still on the channel. I'm gonna have to go back and clip those just for evidence. I like Jordan Morgan technically. Brandon Coleman, more of a guard anyway. Karan, gosh, I like him. I just wonder if he's more of a 3rd rounder for us. So I might have to go Patrick Paul. I think Patrick Paul will probably be the one guy who can survive. I think we know that he can play it. By the way, I am totally against Chooks playing left tackle, by the way. See, I thought Patrick Paul might sneak up into San Francisco, but now that PFF's starting to do that. All right, so what I'll do, let's take a look at wide receiver. I think Ladd goes to the Chiefs. Oh, they have Xavier Worthy going the 1st round. Dude, that's a gamble. See, I thought they might go after Roman Wilson or Pearsall, but... What are we going to miss out on first, guys? Are we going to miss out on getting a big X? Because let's think about last year. Anybody who needs a slot receiver, right? Because then that's when you're. Because think about everybody who's left here, right? Slot for the most part. I mean, he can play a little bit on the perimeter, and trust me, he has the wheels, he has the vert, and he's done the routes, so he knows how to play the position. Is he best there? No, but because I think he's. If you give him more space in the middle of the field, he's even more dangerous. Same thing with Roman Wilson, and same thing with Pearsall. Leggett on the outside. I'm not a Tez Walker guy at all. Javon, I can get in the third, or I would like him in maybe the fourth, really. Johnny Wilson, same thing, fourth. Jamari Thrash is actually better than advertised. I don't think we should get him, but he's better than advertised. I think he's better than 112. I'd be surprised if he makes it to the fourth round. Brendan Rice in the fourth round wouldn't be a bad idea. Now, here's the question. So we have plenty of wide receivers. Now, if we look at all offensive tackles, if I grade them, right, if we go big board, yeah. See, the tackle fall off is a lot harder. I have Foster higher than most, but I think we got to go for tackle, guys. And I know I'm going to get, PFF's going to give me crap for it, but I'm going to go Patrick Paul. So, Leggett's gone. Do we take a chance on? So we're going to get 103. Can I get Luke McCaffrey later on? And yeah, I can probably get those two. So let's take a look at edge right now. I can't believe I passed on Cooley McKinstry. That would be maybe another sit down and talk about, like, what would be the guys that if they would fall out of the first round that you're sitting there and you're like, you just can't pass it up. Cooley McKinstry would be one of those guys. It'd be hard to, like, everybody's gonna be like, oh, we don't need another corner. It's like, man, if you have two, if you have arguably top two corners from back-to-back draft classes, and then you could put Jonathan Jones back in the slot, holy cow. We just can't afford it. It just sucks. This is what happens when, you have moronic wide receivers that get themselves in trouble. Now we have to go out and do it again. We have to get more wide receivers. This sucks. All right, so not liking any of these guys. Maybe we go with Austin Booker. I like Jalen Hunt. I mean, I did a video on him 5 months ago now. 5 months ago was when I did, like, hey, the Patriots should be looking at him. Do I think he's worth at 80 if he's there at 86? No. Braylon Trice, him at 98, that's absurd. PFF, sometimes I just can't imagine that being the case. All right, so let's do Austin Booker. That way we can at least let Uche go, or maybe possibly trade Judon. All right. Do we go with Sinnott, Wiley, or... Oh, man, are we going to miss out on Braylon Allen? Shit. At least they got the idea that people don't like... Tavondre Sweat went from what? Like a solid second-round pick to a fourth-rounder because of his issues there? All right, so this is a hard one because I don't want to miss out on Sinnott or Wiley. Now, considering the guys they've brought in, or we go with Cam Kinchins, which everybody's flipping out because I'm picking up defense. But, you know, we can get Jalen Simpson way, way, way back. All right, I'll go with Jalen Simpson. I'll forego getting Kinchins. Now what? Senate or Braylon Allen. Get Brendan Rice, which is at least giving us the body. Actually, you know what? Where is our friend? Oh, they still don't even have Flournoy in here. What is... Who... Oh my god. Get on it, guys. Get on it. Like, I mean, nothing. I mean, everybody in here deserves to be in here. Like, I'm happy they finally got Coker in here. Finally got Bub Means in. I love that they have David White. Still not sure if Zachary Franklin actually declared for the draft. And they have Hayden in there, too. Oh, and they have Tavian Robinson, which we haven't talked too much about. He's actually pretty good. Like, another slot guy. I am not a Jack Saint guy. I think Jack Saint on my board is like in the 300 or 400s. Same thing with Cornelius. Target. Skip. I'm gonna have to, oh gosh, you guys are gonna freaking hate this. You guys are gonna absolutely hate me for doing this, but it's just reality. What I gotta do. Yep. Without a doubt. Can't believe we have to do that. All right, so we got our right. We got our edge guy, right? Left tackle, edge. Jeez. Josh Newton here, probably not a bad idea. Maybe try to pick up Lauby. That would be at least a 3 for there. You got your receiving back. You got a slot guy. Because again, 11% of his snaps were actually at the slot. So his receiving yards are actually a good chunk of his receiving yards are not actually out of the backfield. They're from the slot. And then he's also essentially the best kick and punt returner in the draft. Now, with the new kickoff rules, he's probably... I mean, I can't imagine us really getting him in the 6th round. It'd be absurd. So do I go... Josh? Yeah, never mind. You're going to hate this too. You're going to hate this one. Yikes. Go with Bub Means. Missed out on a safety. Hated this one. Absolutely hated this draft. But what did we learn from it? We can't afford to go after probably a tight end earlier than we need. I mean, we have tight ends, but it's just that the offense is oh my gosh. This is just one of those situations where that's terrible. I give myself a C too. But I have to admit, that's the first time I played with... I should have probably done a little more research on how PFF's changed up their boards. Gosh, that is just absolutely... He's the second or... he's probably the 3rd best. Arguably the 2nd best. Now, the thing about Kool-Aid is that his name really actually... Like, the guy is always cool under pressure. The guy's been starting since a freshman at Alabama. and he never looks like he's out, like he's being pressured. Like, even the toughest games, like, he might not have had an amazing year this past year, but he's never, like, out of his element. So I have, out of the corners there in the top, like, I mean, I'm a big Quinion Mitchell guy, and I didn't expect him to blast up the board. I thought he would be one of the guys we might be able to get at 34. And now I'm sitting here and looking at Kool-Aid. I'm thinking, how the hell do we get Kool-Aid McKinstry if that's for real? Jeez, hard to pass up, but we can't. We can't afford it. Oh yeah, I wish. So let's go Kingsley. Still missing out on that wide receiver. Jalen McMillan wouldn't be a bad pick. Do we go with Malachi? Now let's think. Malachi, not a true X, right? Much more of a gadgety player. Could we pick up more of an X later on? Possibly. But it'd be a project. It'd be like Flournoy. Flournoy in like the 4th or 5th round would be a good one. Again, we don't have Flournoy in the system for some stupid reason. Jermaine Burton's a good burner, deep guy. Tez, same thing. I like Javon Baker. I just don't like him at 68. Johnny Wilson, he would be your Gesicki replacement. Would he be your X? He would be, I guess, I mean, he's big enough, obviously, and he's tall enough. He runs those routes. He's not a great route runner, though. Like, you're throwing it, you know you're throwing it, and you're just hoping that it's a mismatch with who he's playing with against. Gosh, this is... Do I go with Javon Baker? If this is what's left... See, Malachi I love, but the problem is that I think, for the screen game, if we're going to do a screen game, who's actually a better screen guy in college than Malachi Corley, statistically? Jalen Reagor. Jalen Reagor has more screen. He's the best screen receiver in like decades in college. No one's been able to adapt to the NFL because every time he gets put on a team, they're like, oh, he'll be our deep threat. But does that make any sense? Yes, because think about it. Jalen Reagor is an awesome kick returner. He has vision, so he does great with reading traffic, right? So if he gets the ball in his hands and he's got to run through multiple people on the defense, he does that. That's why it shows up in his kick return, right? See what I'm saying? So although I like Malachi and I think he'd be an interesting guy to add to your team, we kind of have a Malachi in many ways. So what do we freaking do, guys? Tez Walker, Javon Baker. I guess we go with that. And then maybe try an edge in the 4th. See who's there. Maybe Trice makes it. I doubt it, though. He's moved up a lot. Sorry, I'm sitting on this for so long. All right. I've convinced myself we need to at least get a wide receiver in the day 1 or 2. Wasn't ecstatic about that. This is now 4th round. This is where I would like to get him. But Cole Bishop as a safety. still am going to go with Sinnott, guys. I'm sorry. And I'll still go with Braylon Allen if he's there. Yep, sorry. I know this might get a little boring, but... I mean, Braylon Allen, I think... I have him graded, I think, at like 60 or 70, so... Where do I actually... Hold on, let's go to that real quick. 61. So... Yeah, this is gonna get boring, guys. I'm sorry. I mean, to me, that's a good spot. Maybe we pick him up. Yeah, we pick up. Well, see, the problem is that he'd be a Dietrich Wise replacement, guys. 6'6", 280. He's very Keon White-esque, right? He can play D tackle, which, you know, when I highlighted him in that video, I said he could be Barmore Insurance, and then so could. We can talk about that for a second. Same thing with Gabe Hall. He's also Barmore Insurance. Same thing with Keith Randolph. There he is. I think Keith's good. You know, but these are guys who are big, tall, long pass rushers. Where is actually there's Juwan Briggs. He's more of a nose guard. He could be a Godchild replacement. He's got pass rush capability. But let's take a look. Where's actually my boy Christian Boyd? Where's he at? What? They moved him down that far? Dude, PFF, you are just absolutely insane. Justin Rogers isn't bad, too. Same thing with Levette. He didn't test out well. Jordan Jefferson did. Logan Lee tested amazing. I don't think his pass rush moves are great, though. And that's what he'd be, I think, sadly, I think that's his best. I don't think he's much more of a gap guy. All right, so what should we do here? Dylan, go with Dylan, and then go with Boyd, and then go with, where's Jalen Simpson at? Is he still on the board? Wow, 228. We probably missed out on. But there's Mark Perry. Okay, we can get Mark Perry. All right. Still got some good safeties. This safety, things that are underrated this year. Safeties and tight ends. For sure. And I think edge is probably yeah. So yeah, because last year you take the corners. What was it? Corners, tight ends, and edge last year were your strengths last year. And I think if you look from last year, it's like, yeah, it's a little bit of a step back, but not that much. If this actually happens, this level of draft, I mean, this draft would be insane. Frank Crum is still in here? That's nuts. Omar, so we did miss out on Jalen. Literally the freaking pick before. Damn Vikings. Now, the thing about Jalen Simpson, guys, is that he played corners first 3 years, and then they converted him last year. Auburn had, I think they'll have 3 or 4 guys in their secondary that will be drafted this year. So maybe we just go with Tip, and that way we're getting a big, or should we go with Bub? Ayabi Okanoma's another one to pick up. No way Olafosio makes it to 261. Does anybody realize how good? Yeah, look at his coverage grade. What are you? PFF, like, who is running this? Yeah, he's a little older. And he's not below average. Who is writing this? He had like an 8 or a 9 on his RAS score. Oh my gosh. I'm sorry, guys. I'm just fucking so dumb. Just dumb. Do some homework. Like, you have 300 something guys in this thing, and you didn't do your homework on all of it. Baker. Like, I think they still had, like, guys that were... Oh, they finally got some of them out. I was like, they still had guys in here that were already practicing in... Yeah, they got rid of some of them. Okay, good. Because at one point, they literally had guys in here that were they already did their spring ball scrimmage for their college team, and for some reason they were still in the mock draft simulator like a week ago. All right, so Tip or Bub? I think we have to go with Bub, right? Yeah. Probably likely too. I just have a feeling the Patriots are not going to go with Tip, even though I think it's a great pickup. I like the guy, like how he plays. Gosh, to me that would make me happy. Now, most people are going to say, why do we have two halfbacks? I see him as, just an offensive weapon, and we haven't really saw. Yeah, maybe we don't have to get two running backs. Probably should go after a corner or a safety there. Let's do one more. I like Troy Franklin, but you're wrong. Last one, we'll make it quick. I want to test out this one, which is, what do we do if we just trade back? Oh, see, this would be the thing. Like, oh my gosh, would we give up not getting Jerzon Newton? Let's test this out. Can we afford to get somebody who just dropped out of the first round and still eke out a decent draft? Because Jerzon would be starting level caliber. You would be able to move on from Barmore if he's asking for too much, or move on from Godchow next year. All right, so we got tackle. Wide receiver, we'd have to go Brendan Rice. Still have to look for a project left tackle towards the end. If Frank Crumb's still in the system, maybe we can go after him. Still go after Braylon Allen. There's your big back. We need one, since apparently we're not bringing back Zeke, which I don't blame them, but kind of stinks at the same time. Safety-wise, we get kind of... Josh Proctor actually had a good year, did he not? Yeah, he had a pretty good year. I know they like him. I think Josh Newton's probably the better pick here. Former first-round projection, too. Okay, so there's another receiver, running back, that, and then Frank Crum. Give me a tackle. So to answer the question, yeah, we might be able. That's the idea, which is if people slide out of that first round and into that second, would Jerzon Newton actually, yeah, Johnny. If we can get Johnny Newton in the second round, I think it's it'd be like another Keon White situation, which is you have a first round guy who slides out just because people don't really want D tackles in the first round. But I mean, where do I have? I mean, Johnny's up, and I know I have him lower because how about this? That shows you my player grade on him is a 97, right? He's been a solid D tackle his whole entire collegiate career. Like even last year, he was better than Carter statistically, and look where Carter went. So if I can get a guy who's good as Carter, who's better than Carter in the second round this year, and if you're probably all sitting there like, "Whoa, we don't need D tackles, defense." Guess what? Next year is even worse of a pitfall for your defense last year. After next season, so going into would be 2025, right? Going into the 2025 season, can you name me the defensive tackles that would be signed going into next season? Time's up. It's Sam Roberts. That's it. Godchow, Barmore, Quale, which are your top 3 tackles. Oh yeah, what's his face that we just signed this year? I think he's 1 or 2 year anyway. But point being is that going into the next offseason, almost everybody that's a D tackle that's on your roster right now that's signed for. Oh, we'll just say it's signed for you. Even practice squad, the only one that's going in is going to be Sam Roberts, and then what's his face that we just signed, I think. So I mean, I'm assuming we're probably going to try to re-sign Barmore, but maybe Barmore just wants to get paid and this and that. I mean, we have the cap space, we have the money to do it, but also you have to remember, like, Barmore has had bad knees since college, and it hurt him the first 2 seasons. So if I'm the Patriots, and I'm not saying don't sign, re-sign Barmore, but if you want to have insurance that either Barmore wants to walk, he thinks he's worth too much, or if you just want the fact that, like, hey, we can't afford to lose our good D tackles, and Godshaw is grotesquely overpaid. You can get that in the second round, and we were still able to pull off. Right? I mean, we missed an edge, missed a tight end. But, I mean, we've looked at Blake Fisher, highlighted him under the sleeper video. Brendan Rice in the 4th, that's a great place to pick him up. You got hip tackle rule coming in, hip drop tackle rule coming in. Braylon Allen, 240 pounds, running like the 4.4s. Give me a break, man. Josh Newton, another guy that's not even that long ago was getting a first round grade for corner. Now I'll admit to you that I don't think Josh Newton's going to be there in the 6th. I think he's going to be, if he's not gone by I mean, if Josh Newton was in reality, if Josh Newton's not, I'd probably have to, yeah. Where do I have him? Give me the other things first. I have him at 81. I have him in the top 100. How many people are in the top 100 here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So, if this was to actually happen, this would be home run in my opinion. If we got this. Yikes. Crazy. Got an A. All right, so that was not the one I was going to test out. Let's do this, and then we can... Oh, you know what's coming up next? We got the... whatchamacallit today, right? What's the name of the show? Patriots Unfiltered. It's coming on soon. I'll get us off for that, okay, guys? So we got to go with Jaden, because Drake May is probably going to go there. You know what? Stop. I like Dorless too, but can we do? I mean, I guess Austin. See me like Austin Booker for me is a 4th rounder. Same thing with Braylon Trice. I think this is where I get really frustrated all the time because we really needed to do the fire sale last year. No one's calling for a trade. What the fuck? I'd love to get him, but we can't afford to get him at 32 or 34. Sorry. Marshawn Nealon, that would be another one we can possibly get, maybe in the 3rd round. Yeah, so let's... I think that's the big discussion is really who comes out of the 1st round. We can just take a look up here. Who could possibly drop out of the 1st round that we could... So we had Kool-Aid pop up once, and we had Johnny Newton drop out once, right? Now, another person that could possibly drop out of that's PFF is huge on is Nate Wiggins. I'm not huge on him. I think him being like basically the weight of my left leg is a major problem. Top end speed is like for a corner is important, right? It's good to have that. But I don't care if you get to me quick. Right? You can get to me quick, but it doesn't matter if you meet me at the 2-yard line or the 20-yard line. If I can run your ass over, it doesn't matter. It does not matter. And he didn't have, we don't know what his vert is. It's probably not that bad because he's 170 pounds. But again, if you take 170 pounds and you go up against, say, Johnny Newton or Rice or Leggett, Leggett at nearly 230 pounds is just going to you're not even going to bother him. You're not going to be able to body him at all. I don't think Nate Wiggins is going to be a 1st round draft pick. His stats are good, but it's he's not a ball hawk either. So same thing with Xavier Worthy. Basically the same dude, just the other position. A.D. Mitchell might drop out. What? The other edge guys. So out of the 3 edge, is there any edge players that could drop? Could Laiatu Latu drop out of the 1st round? I doubt it. I guess. It's possible that he drops out. Now, the other one that I'm thinking that might drop out that would be too hard to pass up is Amarius Mims. I know a lot of teams... I don't know. The rumor has it a lot of teams are... Well, a couple things. One, he's played right tackle. He can play left. But he doesn't have a lot of games. He got an injury. So, solid ankle injury and not a lot of experience at the college level. But here's the thing, in which I think obviously they're thinking about this too. He played at freaking Georgia. Like, I'm sorry that other like first round draft picks, left and right tackles over the last few years, have come from your program. Right? So yeah, there's a little speculation that he might not be as good as you think he is. But his tape is pretty good, right? I mean, he actually plays pretty. He's a good player. It's just that now your question is, can he do it all the time? I'm not sure. But there might be enough there for people to get freaked out that he does drop out to 34. Now, going to here, like, is there anybody in this cluster here? Because let's say this: Michael Penix going to be a first round draft pick, right? So JJ's in there. Michael Penix is probably gonna be a first round draft pick, and it's possible that someone trades up here. Someone say who would. So who didn't get the quarterbacks? Where'd JJ go? Okay, so that leaves what? The Raiders. Well, actually, still maybe the Broncos might be looking at one. So the Raiders and the Broncos might be trading up, maybe ahead of us, spending some draft capital to get in here, second plus a third, maybe to get into the like this area to possibly any of these guys who are looking at wide receivers or edge rushers might be willing to drop down so they can get a Bo Nix and Michael Penix. Who's going to get Michael Penix? Before free agency, I thought Atlanta would be great for Penix. But now the Vikings, it's probably perfect. Bo Nix to maybe the Broncos, leaving our boy the Raiders to pick up what's his face? Why is his name escaping me? Joe Milton. And then the Saints. Oh, never mind. Spencer Rattler's going to the. What am I talking about? Spencer Rattler's going to the. So, to project here, Vikings with their last pick, probably. If not their number, if he's still there, maybe if they're freaking out, maybe they have to pick him at 11. But my guess is Vikings, Broncos, Raiders, Saints. And who would take Jordan Travis? Yeah, maybe someone who could sit him for a year. Who would want to sit? Maybe the Giants or Jets, or Atlanta. Just so you guys know, there's a few guys in here that are actually a lot better than advertised. Like Jason Bean I have him a lot higher than. I have him up with, probably well above these guys. I also have Milton's higher too. Well, all these numbers are actually drifted up, but. So no one wants to trade with me. I guess we'll just end it there because we've done all this already. Anybody else to point out that Jonah Ellis in the third would be good? So his brother's on the team. I always thought that was going to be our edge guy this year because with Uche, possibly with his 1 year, I think, Jonah Ellis would make sense because he's a speed rusher. And he's got moves. Him and Booker in like the third or fourth round. Jonah, we'd have to take him probably in the third. But if he's there in the fourth, it's just the way he plays, he's got it. Now another edge rusher that's actually underrated. Let's see if he's in here. I know he's in here. I just want to know where. I like Braylon Trice, but not as much as other people do. Where is he at? Gabriel Murphy at 149. Now, this is crazy. The guy had 8 sacks, and look at where his snap alignments. This guy plays all over the place, and he's actually heavy. He's 260. So if I'm looking at this, Adisa I'd target in the third or fourth. These guys, I think you'd have to go in the second. Chris Braswell, the way he plays is a nut job. I don't know if they're targeting him though, because he's just like Amarius Mims, because Chris Braswell has not played a lot of reps, and again, let's think about the people who've played ahead of him. Like, you got Anderson and you got Turner, who played the majority of the snaps at edge positions last year. Right, so now Chris Braswell's he would get in there, don't get me wrong, and he's really great on special teams too. But this is the year he finally gets a shot of snaps, and look what happens. He had 4 last year, now look. 13 and 33 hurries. And like no one's talking about him. Like, do you guys hear anybody talking about him? It's like, you gotta be kidding me. He's an edge rusher, he's a jackbacker from Alabama. Like, he's coming from the best school to produce what he does, and he was phenomenal at it this year. Anyway, if you can get him, Marshawn Nealon the third would almost be impossible to pass up. I know people are going to say this, but I can't tell you how much this guy just reminds me of very Parsons, very Khalil Mack. Watch his tape. The guy, the run stopping part of it is that this guy is a play. Even though he's edge, he's just like a linebacker. Now we would say, yeah, we got Jennings, but in terms of a pass rusher, he's better as a pass rusher than Jennings. So he'd be a solid Judon replacement. He wouldn't be an Uche guy. Now the Uche guys, I mean, I guess Chris Braswell's not great with run stopping. It's not bad though. It's pass rushes. So if you would say Uche, Judon, definitely an Uche. Not really going to be able to tell you what he can. I mean, he's got the stats for it, but he's much more of. He's actually pretty good in coverage. Again, go watch the video that I did on him. I put a lot of his coverage stuff in there. Booker would be a good Uche replacement. Trice would be more of a Judon guy. What's his stats for that? I never even really looked up. It's a little better run stoppage. But awesome player. Kamara would be a great Uche replacement, but I wouldn't want to touch him until like the 4th or the 5th. Brendan Jackson's actually pretty good too. So there's a lot more Uches than Judons. Jean Baptiste, another Uche replacement. Freakish. Nice and tall though. He can play down with his hand in dirt, that's for sure. Miles Cole would be more of a Dietrich Wise replacement. McGregor, now this guy, coming from Michigan, and his size and speed, and the way he plays and his moves is Josh Uche, and he's a clone, so you can get him pretty late too. He's underrated, under the radar too. Now this is a guy, if he's really there late, not crazy numbers, but like him and Juice got injured this year, but watch him play. He's pretty solid. He's pretty good too. See what I'm saying? And there's more to put in here for edge rushers. Safety. Maybe him in the 3rd, him in the 4th. Baki in the 4th or 5th. I'd get him in the 3rd or the 4th. Mustafa, another guy I like, get him in like the 5th or 6th. 6th. Oladapo's pretty good with tight ends. Get him in the 6th or 7th. He's pretty good. He's Ed Reed's cousin. James Williams. We don't need him now. If we didn't have Duggar, I'd say get him in like the 5th. He's good too. He's definitely a physical freak. It's just he's more of a project. I'd go UDFA for him. Omar Brown's another guy that's pretty solid too. Like, I don't know why he's not getting, like, why PFF has him this far down. I think he could probably get him. See, he's more of a slot guy, which I wouldn't mind us having. Be a 4th or 5th rounder there. But if we can get him that late, same thing with Mark Perry, another guy that you can possibly pick up late. But he can play up. That's the thing. He can play up with the line of scrimmage. And then Jalen Simpson, who I don't understand why he's so far back. He played he played a decent amount of snaps at the slot. And he was a corner guy for his first 2 years. Man, we should probably go after him. It's a little light, but 6'1", he runs like a 4.4, a little bit older. Vaki's the wild card because, look, now he's old enough, but I think his first year or two, he was doing missionary work. So, kind of, now he's old and he's been out of high school enough to be eligible for the draft. We don't have enough on him. He'd be a great Miles Bryant replacement. The guy's definitely, like, cerebral how he plays because he's not ultra fast, but his reaction time is crazy. So, like, he's processing quicker. So if you think about, like, he might be a 1/10 of a second slower than other people in his 40, but if your reaction time is 3/10 of a second quicker than the other guy, it doesn't matter. If his first step if he's on his second step and you haven't made your first, it doesn't matter. Like, you can't make that up in the 40. Like, it's not going to happen. You give somebody two-step head start, it doesn't matter. So, same thing with Cam Kitchens. I know a lot of people said he had great, whatever. I don't care. He's young, and he has the knack. He has the instinct. Same thing with Jaden Hicks, too. It's actually a decent safety class, guys. Let's take a look at D tackles. Let's just talk that one second. I know I'm going way over. I got done with my meeting way early today, so now I'm, like, having some fun. I guess maybe we should we be talking about possibly if Devondre Sweat really takes that big of a hit? Do we pick him up? Because it seems like the 4th round's like when we pick up these guys that are trouble, right? Guys that are 1st round, 2nd round talent, but we're picking them up in the 4th round. And although the Patriots, historically try to be some sort of upstanding organization, we do pick up Jack Joneses. Now, is Devondre Sweat going to be the Jack Jones this year? Is he going to be too hard to pass by? Now, they have him ranked at 122. A guy that is literally maxed out. It'd be really nice to have Vince Wilfork again, right? I can't imagine him getting to the 4th round. But if he's really there because if you think about this, like, let's think about the pace of the draft, right? You get done, it's the 3rd round gets done, and Devondre Sweat's on the board. And just like last year, there's going to be like 4 or 5 guys, just how there's going to be the beginning of the second day 2 on Friday. There's going to be like 4 or 5 guys really way up on the top of that draft, that top of that board. And so you're going to have a shot at one of them, right? And the question is do you take the guy or do you trade away? Do you make a move? Because if Devondre Sweat is really there at 103, right? Still there on day 3, 103. Or sorry, yeah. And do you take him? Do you look past the DWI or DUI, whatever it's called now? I don't know. just don't know. Now for D, let's get beyond the D tackles. I like Braden Fisk. You know, his tape looks vicious. Chris Jenkins is arguably a first round talent. So if you can get him in like the third, it would be a decent one. Same thing with Rook and Dorless. Like this grouping here is a lot better than is advertised. I'm not huge on Wingo. Carter's a solid dude. Mason Smith is beginning of this year was a first round, and same thing with Leonard Taylor. Now Leonard Taylor might be an option for us because he's coming from Miami. He didn't have a great year this year. He's a very on-off guy. He's not very physically talented, but he's a sophomore. He's got room to grow. I think with our ties to Miami right now, that if he's there in the fourth, he'd be another guy that we could consider. Davis is solid. Again, this D tackle class is a little better than advertised. I can't imagine these guys getting past the 6th round. So defense, we can probably hold off and still get some guys. But now, if going through this all the time, like I'm looking at this, I feel like we just have to go after. Probably if Kingsley's there, it's hard not to get Kingsley. If you have Drake May and Kingsley, because here's the thing, guys. Kingsley had an okay year this past year. Oh gosh, I gotta get Marshawn. He had an okay year at left tackle, but he's phenomenal technically at the right tackle. See, what's good about that is that you can get some, maybe we can put Chooks back at right tackle, or if we have to for some reason, Elliott Wolf, and maybe that's that was the deal, and we're gonna sign Chooks. He said, I want to play left tackle. I want to make left tackle money. We're like, okay, you can play there, I guess. Guys, maybe we do put him there. But if you can get Kingsley at right tackle and you can put Onwenu back in on the right guard, and So can start at left guard until Cole Strange is 100%. Now, just like my problem with, I gotta tell you something. I get fucking absolutely pissed. I'll say that when people start talking about Cole Strange as if he's some sort of wasted pick. Because I got to tell you this, he's still the best guard in that draft class, and though he was the 3rd guard taken, right? That draft class was so bad, and I'm not saying the Patriots. I'm talking overall. That draft class was so abysmally, horrendously weak that I want you to think about this. Cole Strange is actually right now is the best guard to come out of that draft thus far. And you know what? What's crazy is that, Kenny Pickett, yeah. And then what's his face from, he's not, where is he? It's Seattle now. Yeah, those were the top 2 quarterbacks taken. But, who's kind of up near the top there is Zappy. That's how bad. I'm not saying look how great we did. I'm just pointing out that people want to say how bad that was, how stupid it was to get Cole Strange. Tell me what your other options were there. Because the wide receiver group, not good at all. Because you know why? I want you to think about when we got the guy who was drafted after him, Tyquan Thornton. After Tyquan Thornton, I have 1 or 2 guys that on paper are better than Tyquan Thornton in that draft class. You have to go through it, and you realize that the Patriots drafted really well in an absolutely horrendous draft year. Now, Cole Strange, since being in the league, hasn't had a real offensive line coach. He'll finally have one this year. Now, he's coming back from an injury, I guess, that never really went away. He injured it in preseason, and then, unfortunately, it finally went on him later on in the year. And he was injured the whole year, guys. So, if we give him some time and actual coaching and rehab, maybe he does finally step in and he can do something. But for the take that it was a bad pick because we had to take him. But to actually pick him was genius. You can hate that, but all the other guards, you can hate the situation of having to take a guard. But in terms of picking him versus any of the other guards drafted after him, was smart. The other problem is the other thing to point out is that the other 2 guards drafted ahead of him, one of them has barely even seen the field at all, and the other one's a complete bust. So we get all hung up on some of our draft picks, but imagine being other fan bases that have had guys drafted way higher that have turned into absolutely nothing. I'm taking Marshawn Nealon here. And we're going to go Brendan Rice. This is going to be the last one. I'm done with my rants today, guys. I'm sorry. So we missed out on Braylon Allen by 1 pick. Balls. Probably Cole Bishop. I would like Luke McCaffrey. He's really good, by the way. The corner. Who would I like more? Cam Hart, too. Damn. And DJ James is here? What? Ay, ay, ay. This is an interesting issue to have. Crazy. I think I have to go with DJ. Or Cole. Kind of pissed we didn't get Braylon. Alright, so that means we have to get him there. So let's do... Yeah, I'm going to have to go with Cole. It's probably the smarter move. Guy knows how to play ball. He can play deep. He can play in the slot. He does a decent job with tight ends. He could do better, that's for sure, but... $180. So let's map this out. Let's do... Go with Lauby. Then we'll go potentially with... I guess we can still go Tip here. I probably want to... I think I'll go with Christian Boyd. And then 231 we'll go with... Who should we go with 231? Can I get Christian Boyd too? No, you won't get him at 231. Don't need Jalen anymore. Could still get Jalen for the sake that he plays deep. Yeah, no, that's too much. I think I'll go with Christian. And then go Bub Means probably again. If he's still there. Yeah. There you go. We'll end it there. I'll probably get back on later tonight and do more big board work. I have to do all those grades. I didn't do any of it. I was going to try to do some now, but... Probably another tackle. Maybe we should have gotten Tip for the sake of that. But that's not bad. That might be one of my favorites. Right? Judon replacement. Here's finally getting at least somebody who can play the X. Contested catch guy. He can play X as well, too, but... yeah. Here's your Godchild replacement for next year. Receiver. Yeah, so this is good. All right, we'll end it there. All right. I'm going to go watch some of the fun stuff that's probably happening on Patriots Unfiltered. That's always interesting. And then later tonight, when I get done with my real work, I'll sit down and start banging out some draft grades. All right, I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you.